So I got this Georgie Funko Pop on clearance. It was $5. If you don't know Georgie, he's from the movie It. And so these Funko Pop things, I think they're sort of cute ideas, but I don't really like the black eyes and the, I don't know, shoddily painted features. So I thought maybe I'd try doing a little custom. I've done custom dolls and other things before, but I've never really done a Funko Pop, so I thought that might be neat. So here's the paints I'm using. They're kind of just cheap paints that you get at like Michael's for under $2 a piece. I got ones that work on plastic specifically so they wouldn't wipe off or get sticky. First I'm going to try painting in the eyes. I'm going to try to use the black parts of the eyes so that I don't really have to draw much pupil, but rather just sort of paint in the white parts. I want to give him kind of like a side eye, because I feel like, I don't know, Georgie's like, if you know It, he's about to die, so he's just kind of glancing to the side and like he's a little worried or nervous. I painted in the whites slowly, like lightly layering it in with some water, and then I'll repaint a few more layers on top of it. When you're working with little details and you're working with acrylic paints, you want to sort of use water and lightly dab things in and do a few layers rather than globbing it on all at once. Otherwise it'll look kind of chunky. Here I'm doing sort of a dry brushing to add some blush to his face to make him look a little more, I don't know, lively. Because I feel like the Funko Pops are all kind of like flat. They have very flat colors to them. It's nice to sort of add a little bit of texture. So I'm adding rosiness to his cheeks and his nose. I use a bit of red and just use it lightly. I actually think this might have been a more of a pinkish tone that I was using. So I just sort of keep brushing and painting it in around and just, I don't know, alter it as I like, wash them out. And now I'm going to add some more whites in the eyes. Hopefully they'll get brighter. Right now they're just a little bit chalky. I think that's the weird thing about working with acrylic, is that things tend to look kind of chalky and chunky, and the more water you use, the lighter you work. Well, not too much water, but when you use little bits of water in it, it has more of a smoother look to it. And now I'm going to add a little bit more detail to his hair and jacket. I'm going to dry brush on some texture to the jacket, and then some highlights or shadows in the corners of under his hood and under his neck, and, you know, making it look a little bit more detailed instead of just being a solid yellow. One of the interesting things about this Funko Pop is that it was kind of like two tones of yellow. The yellow on his hood was like bright plastic. I think it might have just been, was it like sculpted as a solid piece of yellow, and then his jacket is sort of painted over another color probably. So they're kind of like two tones, bright yellow and then a little bit of a murkier yellow. So I want to kind of, I don't know, brown it up, make it look a little bit more dirty, rusty, shaded, I don't know, just give it some more texture. So I used two different browns to add some texture to it. And then I'm also going to add some line work into the hair afterwards, and a little bit more shading onto his face using the same brown. I'm trying to keep only like several basic colors. The two browns, white and pink, are all I use, because I want to keep it sort of standard, not be like 1,000 different colors splattered together that kind of don't work, but I don't know, 4 complementary ones instead. So I'm brushing sort of all over the hood and under it and making sure I get everything, but I don't want it to be too brown. I think it's actually getting a little too orange here, but I don't know, it'll work. It looks a little bit rainy and sad, because I mean, he gets sucked into a sewer by a clown and then dies. Oh, I mean, spoiler alert, but I mean, it's for like the first 5 minutes of the movie, and I mean, everybody knows the movie It. I think the first 90s It movie was actually the first thing that completely terrified me as a child and made me like afraid to, I don't know, go into dark rooms and be by myself, because I thought I was gonna get eaten up by a clown. So yeah, I think It sort of holds a place as being one of like the scariest movies, especially to kids like under 13, because I always had this idea, I don't know if it was in the book or anywhere, but that it would kill you if you were under 13 years old, but once you turned 13 it couldn't get you anymore. I don't really know if that's a thing or if I just kind of made that up. I actually as a kid thought it was like an urban legend and not just a piece of fiction, because I'm from New England, so Massachusetts is close to Maine where the story takes place. I thought it was like based on a true story or something, or some sort of like urban folklore or whatever. Um, yeah, anyway, that was traumatizing as a child, so it's always had a special place in my heart, or in my nightmares, more like. I don't know. The new movie was really good though, and it was really heartfelt and added a lot of detail and dimension to the characters, and I don't know, it was nice kind of hanging out with the 7 Kids in the Losers Club. So here, sorry, I kind of skipped a step here, but I added Sharpie details because I didn't really like how it was coming along, and this is sort of the finished one versus the original. I just kind of wanted it to look dark and moody, and I wanted to make them look nervous. I think my favorite detail about the original Pop was actually the SS Georgie written on the boat, and the boat had some little texture to it, held the paper boat in his hand. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to make it look more emotional, I guess. Pops kind of feel emotionless and like they don't have souls and they're all empty, and I think he looks a little bit more lively and afraid right now, which feels more fitting to the movie.